पश्यैतां पाण्डुपुत्राणामाचार्यमहतीं च मों व्यूढां द्रुपदपुत्रेण तव शिष्येण धीमता.
These verses are part of Duryodhana's dialogue with his teacher, Dronacharya. Behold, O teacher, this mighty army of the sons of Pandu, arrayed by the son of Drupada, your wise disciple.
अत्र शूरा महेश्वासा भीमार्जुन समायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः.
Here in this army are heroes and great archers who are equal in battle to Bhima and Arjuna, Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada, the great warrior.
धृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित्कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः.
There are also valiant heroes like Drishtaketu, Kekitana, and the king of Kashi, Purujit, Kuntibhoja, and Shaibya, the best of men.
युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः.
Yudhamanyu, the mighty Uttamojas, Abhimanyu, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi, all great warriors.
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोधद्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमिते.
O best of the Brahmins, understand who are the distinguished leaders of our army. For your information, I shall name them now. As a diplomat, Duryodhana was exceptionally clever. To excite Dronacharya by rousing his revengeful spirit against Drishtadyumna and the Pandavas, Duryodhana referred to Drishtadyumna as Drupada's son and your talented pupil. By these words, he reminded Drona of Drupada's disrespectful behavior towards him in the past and the fact that Drupada had performed a sacrifice with the unholy motive of getting a son who would kill Drona. Duryodhana implied that Drishtadyumna was so clever and Drona so simple that, though born to kill Drona, Drishtadyumna had still obtained from him teaching in the science and art of archery. He also pointed out how skillful and dexterous Drishtadyumna was to array his army in such an impregnable way as to baffle his opponents. It was this person whom the Pandavas had made their supreme commander. Duryodhana subtly urged Dronacharya to consider what his line of action should be. The Kaurava army consisted of 11 Akshohinis, while the Pandav army had only 7. Though numerically smaller, the Pandav army appeared very formidable because of its deployment in the military array known as Vajravyuha. Duryodhana recognized that a smaller army might be more powerful than a larger one if its deployment was better and more efficient. This was why, while calling the Pandav army a mighty army, Duryodhana attempted to draw Dronacharya's attention to it and appealed to him to devise a strategy to counter it. As Duryodhana surveyed the Pandav army, he carefully noted the key warriors standing ready to fight. In 3 verses, he listed those who he knew would be formidable opponents. Duryodhana began by acknowledging the powerful warriors of the Pandav army, each skilled in archery and military tactics. He compared their strength to that of Bhima and Arjuna, the 2 legendary heroes of the Pandavas. Among these warriors were Satyaki, Virata, and the great Maharthi Drupada. There were also Drishtaketu, Kekitana, and the brave king of Kashi. Alongside them were Purujit, Kuntibhoja, and Shaibya, who was known as the best of men. Yudhamanyu and Uttamoja were also present, both renowned for their strength and bravery. Duryodhana made special mention of Abhimanyu, the son of Subhadra, and the 5 sons of Draupadi, all of whom were counted as great warriors. The term Yuddhi, as used in the 4th verse, could not be interpreted as referring to a specific event, as the battle had not yet begun. Instead, it connected with Bhimasam, indicating that the warriors listed were as skilled in battle as Bhima and Arjuna. This set the stage for Duryodhana to reveal the history and backgrounds of these warriors. Duryodhana, also known as Satyaki, was one of the first warriors Duryodhana mentioned. Satyaki was a devoted disciple of Arjuna and the grandson of Sini, a Yadava chief. His loyalty to Lord Krishna was well known, and he was a powerful warrior who could fight many enemies alone. Satyaki survived the Mahabharata War, only to meet his end later in a conflict among the Yadavas. Interestingly, there was another Yadava warrior with the same name, mentioned elsewhere in the Mahabharata. Next, Duryodhana spoke of Virata, the righteous king of the Matsyas. The Pandavas had spent a year in exile under his protection. Virata's daughter, Uttara, was married to Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son. Virata and his 3 sons, Uttara, Sweta, and Sankha, were all killed in the Mahabharata War. Drupada, the son of King Prishta of the Panchalas, had a complicated history with Drona, the teacher of both the Pandavas and Kauravas. In their youth, Drupada and Drona had been friends, but when Drupada became king, he insulted Drona, leading to a deep conflict between them. Drona later exacted his revenge by having Drupada defeated by Arjuna. Though Drupada pretended to reconcile with Drona, he secretly planned his revenge. Through a ritual performed by sages, Drupada sought to have a son who would kill Drona. This ritual led to the birth of Drishtadhyumna and Draupadi. Draupadi would later marry the Pandavas. Drupada was a great warrior, but his life ended at the hands of Drona during the Mahabharata War. Drishtaketu, another warrior mentioned by Duryodhana, was the son of Shishupala, the king of Chedi. He too fell to Drona's might in the war. Kekitana was a Yadav hero from the Vrishni clan. He was one of the 7 commanders of the Pandav army and a warrior of great skill. Duryodhana himself killed Kekitana during the Mahabharata War. The king of Kashi was also a noteworthy warrior, though his name is unclear due to differing accounts in the Mahabharata. He was a great hero and a Maharthi, but he too met his end in the war. Duryodhana then spoke of Purujit and Kunti Bhoja, brothers of Kunti and uncles to Yudhishthira and his brothers. Both were killed by Dronacharya during the war. Sabya, the father-in-law of King Yudhishthira, was recognized not only as a hero and powerful fighter but also as a man of great character. This earned him the title of the best of men. Yudhamanyu and Uttamoja, brothers and princes of the Panchala territory, were tasked with protecting the wheels of Arjuna's chariot during the battle. Both were strong and valiant fighters but were killed by Ashwathama while they slept. Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son and the nephew of Krishna, was married to Uttara, Virata's daughter. Trained in archery by both his father and Krishna's eldest son, Pradyumna, Abhimanyu was an exceptional fighter. On one fateful day during the Mahabharata War, Abhimanyu broke into the Kaurava army's complex military formation known as the Chakravyuha. Despite his youth, Abhimanyu displayed extraordinary skill and bravery, killing many enemies. However, he was eventually surrounded and killed by 6 Kaurava warriors, violating the rules of war. Parikshit, who would later become king, was Abhimanyu's son. The 5 sons of Draupadi, Prativindhya, Shrutsoma, Sritakarma, Satanika, and Shrutasena, were born to Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahdeva respectively. All 5 were tragically killed by Ashwathama during the night. Duryodhana explained that a Maharthi was a great hero, skilled in both the scriptures and the science of warfare, capable of commanding 10,000 bowmen in battle. The warriors he listed were all Maharathis, with distinct skills and prowess. After describing the key warriors of the Pandava army, Duryodhana turned to the warriors of his own army. He used the word tu, meaning also, to indicate that his own forces were not lacking in strength or skill. The term Viṣhāda highlighted those who were superior in heroism, strength, intellect, courage, and knowledge of arms. By saying Nibodha, Duryodhana implied that there were many more heroes of exceptional merit in his army, but he was mentioning only a few for Dronacharya's knowledge. As Duryodhana listed these warriors, he did so with confidence. He was not a man who suffered from feelings of inferiority. Unlike most, he began his discussion not by criticizing his enemy or praising himself but by acknowledging the strengths of the Pandava warriors. This was a sign of his self-assurance. In earlier times, both good and bad people existed, just as they do today. However, the difference lies in the confidence of these individuals. Even the best people today often lack inner confidence, while in the past, even the worst individuals had a certain self-assurance. This deep confidence, whether in good or bad actions, shaped how people approached their challenges. Duryodhana, despite his flaws, began his conversation by recognizing the strengths of his opponents, reflecting his understanding of the situation and his own confidence in facing the Pandavas on the battlefield.